Ever get that feeling? Like you stumble across something beautiful, but it's in a language you totally don't get.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That moment where you know there's something special there, but you can't quite grasp it.
A little frustrating for her.
Totally. But also kind of exciting, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like a door waiting to be opened. And that's what we're doing on this deep dive.
We love those doors. So what hidden gem are we uncovering today?
We're going to China. Ancient China, actually. Picture this. It's nighttime. Maybe you're feeling a little lost, reflective, and bam, you find these lines of poetry. The thing is, they're written in Chinese.
Intriguing. Okay, you've got my attention.
These aren't just Enya lines, though. We're talking about Jing Yi Si, which means quiet night thoughts. And it's by this guy, Li Bai.
Ah, Li Bai. Now, he's a legend. You could almost call him the Shakespeare of China.
Except maybe with a few more stories about epic drinking parties thrown in.
He did have a reputation for enjoying life, that's for sure. But that's part of what makes him so fascinating. A true poet of the people. Totally. So, our mission, if we choose to accept it, which we do, obviously, is to unlock this poem. And not just a boring old word-for-word translation either.
We're going deeper than that.
Way deeper. We're going to feel it, you know?
Oh.
Why has this poem stuck around for over 1,000 years? What's the magic trick?
The magic of Li Bai is definitely something special.
It really is. All right, let's jump into the first line, shall we? In Chinese, it's chuang qin ming yu guang.
Ooh, even just hearing the sounds is beautiful.
Right. It's like music. It almost has a melody to it, doesn't it? But those beautiful sounds actually translate to something pretty simple. Moonlight in front of my bed.
It's amazing how much he conveys in so few words. There's no need for embellishment, just this stark, direct image. And yet, it immediately places you right there in the scene, doesn't it?
It totally does. I feel like I can practically see the moonlight streaming in. Okay, ready for line 2?
Hit me with it.
Yi shidi shang shuang, which in English means I suspect it's frost on the ground. I've got to say, this line gets me every time because it plays with your senses, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. That moment of confusion, that trick of the light. We've all been there.
Exactly. You're in the dark, you see something out of the corner of your eye, and your brain jumps to conclusions.
And that speaks to Li Bai's mastery of imagery. But it's important to remember, this isn't just Aeani moonlight he's talking about. The word he uses implies a particular brilliance, almost like it's so bright it could be mistaken for frost.
Which, knowing Li Bai, tracks. The dude loved going big with his descriptions.
Oh, for sure. He wasn't afraid to exaggerate to get his point across. He wanted you to feel the intensity of his experience.
Totally. And I love how that's reflected in line 3. Chu tu weng ming yu, or I raise my head to view the bright moon. We're shifting gears here, aren't we?
We are. We were lying down, lulled by the moonlight, and now we're being prompted to look up, almost as if the moon itself is demanding our attention.
Oh, I love that. Like he's taken us on this little journey with him, first down at the ground and now up at the moon.
It's very deliberate. This poem follows a classic 4-line structure, each line building upon the last. It's actually incredibly structured, which might surprise some people, given how natural and effortless it feels.
Right. You don't think about the structure, you just feel it washing over you, which is what makes the final line hit so hard.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Gitu Siguchiang. I lower my head and think of my hometown. Oof. Just oof.
Right. That sharp turn from the vastness of the cosmos to something so incredibly personal. One minute you're gazing at the moon, the next you're flooded with memories.
And it's that universality, that shared human experience that makes this poem so timeless. You know, you don't need to be a scholar of ancient China to feel that pang of homesickness. We've all felt it.
Exactly. It's that longing for a place, for a person, for a feeling of belonging that transcends time and cultures.
It's powerful stuff. So, final question for you, expert to expert. What do you think makes this poem endure? We're talking over 1,000 years here. It's short. The language is deceptively simple. What's Li Bai's secret?
Honestly, I think it's a few things. First, his imagery. He paints these vivid pictures with his words that anyone can understand, regardless of their background.
Right.
He doesn't overcomplicate things.
He really doesn't.
And then there's the juxtaposition, this beautiful tension between the vastness of the moon, this celestial body that's been around for millennia, and this deeply personal, almost aching longing for home. It's genius, really.
It really is. And you know what else gets me? It doesn't end on sadness. It ends on a thought. Like that image of home is just lingering there in the air.
And that, I believe, is the mark of a truly great poem. It stays with you long after you finish reading it. It sparks something within you.
It really does. It makes you think, The next time you're out and you see the moon, maybe you'll think of these lines. You might be surprised by what you feel.
It's amazing how a poem written centuries ago in a completely different language can still have such a profound effect on us today.
It really is. And speaking of things that are profound, here's something I find really interesting. Li Bai, he never actually tells us where home is. It's left deliberately vague. What do you think about that?
I think it's brilliant. It allows each of us as readers to bring our own interpretation to the poem. It becomes deeply personal in that way.
It's like he's giving us permission to fill in that blank with whoever or whatever we miss the most.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, I think we've just about reached peak profoundness for one night.
I agree. We could probably dissect this poem for hours, but we'll save some of Li Bai's genius for another time.
We will. So, for everyone listening, that's it for our deep dive into quiet night thoughts. But before you go, do us a favor. Next time you see the moon, let those lines run through your mind. You might just discover something new about yourself.
Huh.
Until next time.